Eminem. You've had a heated theory about Eminem, a heated argument about Eminem. This is one of your childhood idols. This is one of your goats of hip hop growing up, Xavier. And he just released a new album, The Death of Slim Shady. Um, this one is 20 tracks, but that's including the video.
And like three skits.
And like 3 skits.
We'll call it like what was that, like a 16,
16,
17?
yeah, 16 tracks. Yeah, about that. So, what did you think about the album?
The Death of Slim Shady, the build up I really did like the build up and the promotion for the album, seeing what direction he was going to go with the title alone, thinking just expectation wise what we were going to get, maybe a glimpse into his early life of Slim Shady, you know, tank top, wife beater, pill popping,
right,
beating up bitches,
right,
in his hey, Slim Shady said it, not me. Something he would say. And then coming to see his transition of where he is in his stage of his career and his life now. He got some money. His kids are grown. Where is he at now? So that is my expectation of how I went into this album. And boy, was this a roller coaster. And I'm talking one where you go, then you get to the top and you're looking down and you're like, boy, this is about to be a crazy drop. And the whole time you're, ah! The whole time I came in after... Boy, let me look at my phone. After, I believe, track like number 9. After, I'll give it Houdini because it was catchy. The hook was really good. I did like the hook, and the beat was super catchy. And it was like I did like the little reminiscences of Slim Shady and his kind of anti-superhero outfit with Dr. Dre.
Right.
So
the music on this album. Let's just say like the music
production
was
Dre gonna be Dre.
Right. Like Eminem, I would say his last 3, 4, 5 albums have
been call it 4.
Call it 4.
We don't gotta say 5. We can call it 4.
He's been buns for a long time.
He's been there,
but he's been overly rapping, lyrical miracle, like ruining songs. I feel like this had a good flow. I feel like he had a good upbeat tempo, beat selection. I feel like the music, as far as the music from 1 through 20, however he constructed this, the music was really good. It showed his ability.
Dre hit him with a lob for sure.
1000%.
He did not execute.
When it comes to the content
matters. When you proclaim yourself as one of these lyricists, spiritual miracle individuals, that content matters. When you're just somebody who thinks you just rap about money, hoes, drugs, nobody really cares about your content. We're just looking for the vibes. But when you proclaim yourself and you build your career off of being a lyricist, now people are going to be listening to your music for real. And going back to my roller coaster analogy, because the roller coaster, it starts slow, and in this case it was the build up, because Houdini threw about evil. I was like, boy, I think I know where this album is going, and it has a lining of a glad bag. But I was like, but then it picks up. It picks up. Antichrist, Lucifer, Fuel with JID. JID showed out
1000%,
and he made Eminem show out as well. So it builds back up, and I'm like, okay, I do have a little bit of hope for this album, because that's kind of the only thing I have at this point. Because as you were saying, we're coming off of about 4 mid to albums, and we're still looking at you as one of these goats, and you still want us to look at you as one of these goats. But if we're just going based off your music, you haven't been yourself in a long time. So I was hopeful about midway through the album, and then that's when I was at the top of the roller coaster. The rest of the album, I was screaming, came in. Tobey Maguire got hit with it. No!
You hate that record. It wasn't that bad.
Why are you trying to prove that you can rap on a track with Baby Tron and Big Sean? Are we serious?
Big Sean is a very good lyricist. Baby Tron is next up in Detroit. Don't do this.
We're not talking about Detroit, Cayman.
That was a Detroit record.
I don't care, but that's not all it was. It was a showcase.
And they all flowed and rapped, and it was, an eloquent showing.
I get that Eminem,
past, present, future.
I get that Eminem always does around like album drops. He always does like a showcase with Detroit rappers, but that's also a showcase when you're on a track with multiple people. We're gonna start judging you. And of course, you're gonna sound better when you're rapping against Baby Tron and Big Sean.
Big Sean has lyricist bars.
Big Sean is compared to Wale came in. Who do you think is going to
Wale's
win?
good
Who do you
too.
think is going to win in a rap battle came in? Wale or Eminem? Are we serious? Challenge yourself.
But we're saying, we're talking about Eminem's. We're just talking about Eminem's last 1,000%. We were just talking about 1,000%. Yes, we were just talking about Eminem's last 4 projects. You have to remember he was in a rap battle around that time versus MGK, and a lot of people said MGK wouldn't run. So you can't say
that's because
it's not challenging yourself.
My God.
Big Sean right now is one of the top. He's a top. Is he not a top 10 lyricist? Would you not say that? In 2024, right now, in this era, not in 2013, not in 2015.
He is definitely a top 25 lyricist, Cayman. He is on that top 25 list, and that is not a debate.
And Baby Tron is next up. Tobey Maguire got hit by his fight.
But me, see, it was a GOAT. No! And the video and everything, I was over it.
Oh, I didn't even watch the video.
They thought they was on Dark Matter. It was on Dark Matter the whole time. It was just a bunch of clones.
Right.
I couldn't do it.
Eminem's messaging in this, he said a lot of things that were offensive towards different communities. The goal of the whole album and a lot of these records was to create this Death of Slim Shady. I think the album comes to it goes to a different level when he drops Guilty Conscience 2. And I think that's a important record of what Eminem was trying to portray in this whole album of who Marshall Mathers is, who Slim Shady is, this character that he had to create to portray a certain image, to say some of the stuff that's in his head that took him to the top. Because what did we know Eminem for? Saying the brash things, saying the things that nobody else would say, saying the things that were kind of like, whoa, off the rails, but this is hip hop. He wanted to say that Slim Shady was that for him. So why do you think that record didn't kind of translate for you in that way of what this whole album, what he wanted this whole album to be?
Right, because I think, like as you just said, the whole album.
Right.
You mentioned one track out of, we mentioned about 16.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that one track trying to cover your ass is going to cover all the homophobic, sexual, misogynistic,
little
rape
people,
jokes, little deaf, everything that you said in that track, that one song reflecting on your guilty conscience, that's not going to cut it. And like you're saying, the direction I thought he was going, he went the complete opposite. I thought he was going to show us Slim Shady in the beginning. We were going to get that white tee misogynist in the beginning. We were going to get those provocative bars in the beginning. And I thought it was going to lead into something new. Who are you now?
Right.
But no, we just got more and more and more of Slim Shady in just a different color wife beater every day. He was just swinging on somebody different every day. And I think what he meant by this title was the Death of Slim Shady is, I'm going to beat this horse until it's dead. Y'all gonna make me just give it up.
Right. And you were kind of saying that's kind of the same of what Dave Chappelle was doing in his last couple specials.
Yeah. This album really is giving Dave Chappelle, just provocative and controversial for controversial sake. It doesn't really seem like what people, I think, liked about Eminem early on in his career is he was provocative. He said a lot of just climactic things that got people's attention, but then he also, in a way, related it to some social commentary. So it was kind of that duality of, oh, he's kind of crazy, but he kind of knows what's going on a little bit. It makes you want to understand it. But now it just seems we're getting one-sidedness. We're just getting the homophobic jokes. We're just getting the gay jokes. We're just getting the trans jokes. And that goes for Dave Chappelle too. At what point is it used to be, yeah, ain't nobody care if you say a gay joke.
Right.
Say all the gay jokes you want. But the joke can't just be that you're gay.
Right.
It's got to be some content to it. But now all it is you're gay and niggas be laughing.
So let me ask you this, because I'm going to be honest. Out of all the last 4 Eminem albums, I'm not mad at this album as much because it did bring me back to an era. It did bring me back like, oh, this sounds like 2002.
Right.
Like some of the records, he did some things on it. So would you be mad? Okay, this is the Death of Slim Shady, but what if we see more from Eminem? What if in the next 6 months he gives me Marshall Mathers Evolution? If you give me 2 to 3 bodies of work and you're actually going based off this theme, Xavier, it matters what you're going to do in progressing your life. Because if you're going to give me a progressive evolution album after you gave me this, then I'll understand your concept of this.
Then I'll have to wait and see. because I don't know if I'm gonna give him that much
Bell,
slack and be
that
like,
much bell,
yeah,
right,
be
right.
like, oh yeah, he's really thinking that much of ahead.
Right.
Unless he watched the Bland podcast, then we'll never know. We'll see. But
Hey, I just gave you a little evolution thing, Eminem. You wanted to do these songs about your daughter. You didn't like none of the songs.
Oh my god! Every time the
sad
beat,
songs,
every time
little,
the beat slowed down, his voice got soft. I was like, next.
Right. I did have to skip a couple of them where it was
I skipped
like
all of them. Next, 10 seconds. Next, no. Talk about you hate deaf people, please.
So
that's what I'm trying to say. But before you go on, you mentioned that when you listened to this album, it brought you back to like 2002.
Right.
And I think that's the problem. Eminem with this album to me has really solidified himself as kind of an artist of his era.
Right.
He doesn't really seem to have branched out outside of that, found a new sound, found a new flow, found new content. And I was talking to somebody and they kind of compared, I think it might have just, they compared Eminem to Mac Miller. And I'm like, you can't just compare everybody that's white.
Right.
I get it.
Because those are two different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't compare everybody that's white. But I think a good comparison to Eminem, I would say, is Tyler, the Creator. They both started off with that just really brash, obscene content. But one of them was seen to progress their content, their sound, their whole just persona, and really just market themselves and move forward.
Right.
And has became a really pivotal artist in the culture. And one has really just not left 2006.
Because what was Tyler when he first went in the beginning of his career?
Oh, Tyler and Off Future,
right.
Wolfgang, that woo, and I was listening. Mm-hmm. I was there for it.
But now you see Tyler. Now you see Tyler now with the hit records, like when he came out with the Kendrick pop-up show. Like a lot of people, everybody knows his records now. What's the name? Like he has evolved into being that artist, and I feel like Mac Miller kind of was in the same way, not in the provocative state, but the evolution. Like before Mac died, that year or two before he died, I forgot what, I think that was it had like 2009 on it. I'm about to look up the album right now, but he was really getting into his music artistry bag on his last. Yeah, shout out to Mac Miller. He was really getting into his. This was Swimming was that album where it was like, dang, Mac Miller, dang, that was 2018 too. That's crazy. R.I.P. But you could tell like he's literally getting into a music thing. He had that other album when he had that Anderson .Paak record on there.
The
Divine Feminine. Those are kind of the things where I'm pushing the levels of what I knew musically, and I'm doing different things, and I'm getting into my bag as an artist.
Right.
Evolution is important for some of these artists, and I'm gonna ask you this. This will be our last thing on Eminem. Where do you rank him now? Where do you put him now in those hip hop debates, in those rankings?
Well,
all time.
It definitely has changed. Early on in my rap career, my rap listening career, Eminem was in my top 10, top 5 maybe. Around 2018, 2017, he dropped to maybe he's top 25. I think I'll put him in the 25 bracket. I'll still give him the respect for a vet, and I get kind of where he comes from. He's more, from what I'm understanding from the album, saying, I've never changed. I've always been who I've been, and you love me for it, but now you want to act like I never existed. So I do want to give him his respect for, and his flowers for being that artist that everyone did love at that time.
Right.
But it's no longer that time. And we see every artist like Tyler, the Creator, like Mac Miller, we see them progress from where they first were. Mac Miller started with frat party music. Now he's over here making songs with Anderson .Paak and CeeLo Green, doing everything we wanted Chance the Rapper to do. Everything we tell Chance to do.
I hope he's getting there. I hope Chance is getting there.
Well, you heard the last song. Chance is not there. But it's just crazy to see where your vets fall. And for me, I take this really personally because a lot of my guys are falling this year. Or in general, Kanye packed them up. Eminem packed them up a few years ago. It's like, I'm so glad Kendrick won this battle. I would have been back on SoundCloud. Like, what is going on?
Right, and I think I do want to give Eminem the appreciation and the respect of what he did, because speaking of a Kendrick Lamar, like I've said this before, like even going from track 1 to 2, you hear the elements of Eminem. And he said this in his album somewhere in it. You hear the elements of Eminem that some of the greatest have emulated, some of the greatest have taken, and I feel like Kendrick has that infinity stone of the lyrical miracle person. what Eminem has did. Like, he can gas like that too.
Right.
And he got that inspo from Eminem, so I have to put Eminem in the category like how I rank basketball players. Allen Iverson is kind of in a different category for me because he's not a point guard nor he's a shooting guard, and he kind of didn't evolve with the times as well as other people did that were in his draft class. Kobe, even like a Steve Nash or something like that. Like, he had his dominant era, but I'm gonna put him in a different category because he's not a shooting guard, a point guard, and he had his own downfalls that did not make him evolve in this level, but he's still great. But that's still Allen Iverson right there. That's still Eminem right here in a different category, but he's just not in the top 10, top 20 conversation for me, unfortunately. But you gotta respect that, man.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
You gotta respect it, and as you mentioned, you gotta respect it for all the artists, great artists that we now have that were influenced by him.
Right.
Like you mentioned, Tyler the Creator, obviously,
right.
Mac Miller, J.I.D., who was on the album killing it.
Right.
There's whole labels who are monitored, or not monitored, but mimicked in a sense by the style of early on Eminem.
1000%.
But it's the content that matters when you market yourself as the content guy. Now I need the content.
Right. And what are you giving me?
He's giving me GTA.
Eminem is how old these days? Let's see his age.
Oh, he got like 45, 50, 45, 47. 51
years old.
Wow, Eminem's my dad's age?
Mm-hmm.
Basically. Wow.